Hey everyone, welcome back to the Art to Life podcast. As I shared last week, I'm super excited about this upcoming project. It's going to be our second annual all-immersive free Art of Your Life workshop. It starts Monday, March 3rd, and it goes till Friday, March 7th. And I would love all of you to come, obviously. And by the way, again, it's free, but in it, I'm going to be teaching the first 3 steps of my new Bloom practice and 3 essential art making principles. It's going to take your art to the next level. So if you want to join this free workshop, go to artlifefree.com. So as I explained, I'm kind of focusing on this project. And as a result, I'm taking the next few weeks off of the podcast to focus on it. And I'm resharing some key episodes from our archives, pivotal podcasts, conversations that have really led me to the discoveries I'll be sharing with you in this upcoming workshop. And as a result, I would love you to listen to these episodes. So the episode I want you to, that I'm going to revisit today is called Becoming Your Art. And this is one that I did myself. And it's perfect and it underlies much of the teaching I'll be giving in my free upcoming Art of Your Life workshop. One of the cool ideas in it is around this choice, around what we think. We get to choose what we think. And then that leads into how we feel. And then how we feel is what we see out in the world. And what we see is what you're going to attract. And in our cases, it will relate to what we will create. This is a really, really powerful idea, and I'll be going more into this. It basically puts you in the driver's seat of your art and your life. Anyway, this episode is about becoming who you need to become to make the art of your life. So have a listen. And again, this is going to set you up so perfectly for my upcoming free Art of Your Life workshop. Again, that starts in early March. And if you have a second, don't forget, just go now to Art Life Free and sign up, and you'll get all the emails and everything. All right, you guys, enjoy this episode, and I will talk to you real soon. Thanks so much. Today, I'm going to be diving into a little bit more of the Art to Life Free workshop. In other words, I'm going to be talking to those who participated in that and those who didn't. And I'm always left at the end of the workshop feeling like if I just had more time, there's so much more to share. And not everyone can come do the Creative Visionary program and I understand that. So I wanted today to talk a little bit about that journey and what I was doing in the free workshop, starting to tell the story about the move towards authenticity in art and life. So I want to touch upon that today. And at the same time, I'm going to be making some art here while I'm doing this because I want to. So let me just say that what I began in the free workshop, what I was talking about was understanding, first and foremost, what brings you alive as a starting point for making your art and making your life. And this is a powerful understanding and a teaching. And it's changed my life, and it's one of the primary things that I focus on teaching people, especially for those who want to make their art better. And there's 3 parts, or in other words, 3 stages of this journey. And the first is an intellectual understanding. There's an intellectual understanding of what I'm describing. You first have to listen to it, and at first it sounds a little, it's different, and I'll dive into this in a minute, but know that this is where we always go first in order to understand something. And that's where we begin. So again, I'm I'm talking about authenticity. I'm talking about if somebody can move towards their authenticity, that their art will become more powerful, will become more potent, will become more different than what's out there. And not only will it be easier to make for the artist, but it will become almost magnetic. It'll become strong. People will be drawn towards it. People will follow you. People will, if you're excited, if you like what you're making, if it is of you, it will be of interest not to everybody, but a certain amount of people, and they will really be into it. And this is kind of the business plan of this, but I'm really speaking today about the intrinsic value of moving in your life more and more to what feels true for you. What in your life lights you up? What is exciting to you? Starting to become aware of that is important. Now, we have experiences in our life where we are faced with all kinds of things that come along in our day, challenges, difficulties, obstacles, and they take our energy away. And really what I'm talking about and emphasizing and really highlighting the value of is this aliveness, is this energy that as creatives we need to have. We have to have this in abundance. When we have this abundance of energy, another word for it is feeling inspired. If we feel inspired, then an overflow state of that is creativity. And this is where we do best, right? We feel energized to make something. So understanding that how do we get inspired? Well, we have to involve ourselves in things that give us energy, that light us up. And just thinking about those things can do this as well. We don't necessarily have to do them, but we just need to be thinking about them or planning to do them or fitting them in or considering them. When we do that, the energy ticks up. When the energy is at a higher state, we feel more energized. We feel that there's more possibilities for ourselves. The things that normally bog us down in our life, the challenges in any aspect of our life that undermine us, where we feel a little less than worthy. We wonder if this is even possible for us. We wonder if our art could ever be that good. Those are always there, but they're made smaller by putting next to them a higher frequency, a higher energy state, more fire, more energy. And that comes from you. That comes from what you bring into your life, what you choose to focus on. And this is, you're listening to this, maybe as you're hiking or walking around, you're using your brain to think about this and try to get your head around it and think if this is true or not. And so you're intellectually understanding, and that's fine. That's what we're kind of wanting to do. Let me grab a paintbrush here. Because we first have to intellectually understand it. So here's the powerful teaching, and there's 3 steps to this. There's 3 steps to this path of becoming more ourselves. First, number 1 is what we're doing right now. You have to intellectually start understanding that maybe there's a different way to approach something, to think about something, of thinking about your art making, to try it on, to say, well, okay, maybe that, or I sort of understand this, or I don't understand that. And you're in your brain, in your thinking about this. We are taught that some things that we make are good and some things are not so good. We are taught that Some people are more talented than others. We believe that. We believe the teachers, the people in our lives who in the past have said that we were not capable or not worthy or to make art. And the process of making art kind of wears you down anyway. So we're really vulnerable. I think, I know you know this, we're really vulnerable to those kinds of undermining influences. So what I'm sharing with you is an approach, is a truth that I coach with that can counterbalance that. And it's this idea of, as I shared, feeling more alive. How you get that going, simply by involving yourselves in those things, whether it's yoga or running or making art or colors or friends or whatever the things are, staying more connected to that. I teach a whole journaling process that I was just doing in the Creative Visionary program with everyone. But really what that is a way to stay connected. What I'm working on right now that you're looking at here on this podcast, I'm connecting to my art actually as I'm speaking, but this reminds me of what gives me energy and juice, and it translates into what I'm talking about. But literally getting involved, staying involved with those things is super, super important. It shifts your energy. And when you realize that if you think about these things, whether you're doing them or not, it changes your energy. So, and that controls how you feel. That's how you feel. You feel better, you feel different, you feel more energized. That's the state we want to be in order to make the art, of our life, to make powerful art I'm talking about. Anybody can just play around. But this is so, so important. And we have to intellectually understand this. The key learning here is understanding your thoughts allows you, if you can control those, if you can choose to think about what you want, which we all can, then you have some power over the way you feel in your life. Are you energized or are you dampened, right? Are you fired up or do you feel less than? I need to intellectually understand that is a choice because of the way you're choosing to think about things. And I know there's circumstances that we all have hard things happen. Obviously, we can't be in this all the time, but understanding that there's an approach, there's a way forward to a more lifted, energized place is so, so important to get. It's the first step. And this is what I was talking about in the free workshop a lot. Really starting to highlight this and talk a lot about it. But that's about as far as I could get in the free workshop. But it's a pretty great thing if you think about it. It's pretty amazing to think that wait a second, are you telling me that I actually I can be really happy? Like I can control that. I have some influence over that. It's not just things are happening to me, that whether something is happening or not, I always can come at it. And this is a powerful learning of taking something that is a circumstance and creatively approaching it. Taking something that comes to you that might be difficult or a misfortune or any number of challenges and creatively look at it and learn and find something redeeming in it, something that can lift you. And I know firsthand the seriousness of things that happen and really sad things and really hard things. But it is true that there is always some learning there, some amazing, almost like it's in tandem with the difficulty of the thing, the relative hardship of the thing, almost feels like there's something equally powerful, a takeaway that can be incredibly redeeming or incredibly uplifting or a learning. So taking this approach, understanding this, is the beginning to massive change in your work, and I believe massive change in your life. And it's the first step. So I wanted to just go a little further and tell you the rest of the kind of steps with this, the path, the full path that I couldn't explain in the free workshop. There's just not enough time to do that. So the next stage in this, if this resonates for you, if you understand this, is to start doing it a little, is to start feeling this, right? And I call that embodiment, where you take that thinking and you actually feel it inside of yourself. And this is what's so great, is because this is where the art part comes in, because now you can learn this idea and we can use art to help us. You know, I describe art making as the process of becoming ourselves, because it really is a process. And the art is just the artifact of learning this way of being. And the great art is when you really understand it. Because if you're really clear about what lights you up, what fires you up, then the art that you make will feel like that. And if the art feels like that, then it will be powerful. It's kind of amazing. It's so fun to make this while I'm talking to you. I talk a lot about differences as a way of experiencing the world, as a way of feeling more in your life. What I'm describing, the approach is the aesthetic life. And it's an invitation, a way of being into the aesthetic life, where we can look out at everything in front of us and go after what's beautiful for us, what's moving for us. This is just a curation. It's like you're curating out of your eyes all 24/7, right? When you can get this. And it becomes incredibly rich when you choose to focus on what lifts you up, what lights you up, what's rich for you. It's different for everyone. So this second stage, this second part of this, going from the intellect to the body, embodiment, to holding this within yourself, really truly learning how you're feeling. And then here's the tricky part, and which is so cool. How do you take that feeling and translate it into what you're making? And that's mysterious. It's not talked about. There's no classes in it that I'm aware of. I talk about it constantly, and this is the area where the possibility for your work is so friggin' amazing. We don't even have like words to really describe it. When we choose color, for example, I'm working on this right now. I'm looking at all these colors, and color's a good way to describe this. We can choose colors if we have a feeling, a desired feeling, something that we want to express that we love, or that feels up for us. If we can start thinking about, how can I bring that into my art? How can my art have that feeling? There isn't a logical explanation, but you can intuitively look at something, look at what you're making, and double check it against yourself. And this is what's so powerful, because normally we make art and we just look at it and we like it or we don't, or we compare it to the work out there, and we go down this rabbit hole of not liking what we're making or comparing it to other people's art. And it's just the wrong thing to be checking against. The progress is made by checking it against what feels right for you. And that's learned, and that takes time, right? We have to first intellectually think about it. But we can get so good, you can become so sensitized to what it is you're after that you can recognize it in your work. So for example, if I take this red color right here and I put it here on this picture, just laying this on here, does this feel good to me? And I'm seriously trying to look at this here and I don't really like this. It doesn't feel as open and spacious as the feeling that I'm after. And the feeling that I'm after is sort of an openness, feelingness that I'm wanting to. That's personal. That's what I'm interested in doing. So I want it to feel just more, just like I like this page a lot. For me, the feeling, and this isn't right or wrong, it's just for me, this feels good. This doesn't here, where it's more contained. So I'm gonna take a bigger area of paint, try something else. But you see, I'm making a choice now. I'm making this art from this place. And there's no one here watching this that could kibitz, that could say, oh my God, don't do that or whatever, because what's driving this decision is a feeling that I want to have. And as I'm putting this on, this paint on, this feels more like I liked it before. It feels much better than it did on that other thing. It still feels a little, it feels a little tight here, but that feels better, just kind of going off. But this is the beginning of making it according to you. And you getting connected to what it is that feels right to you, and then learning how to translate it and adjust your work. Does this color, what I just did here, feel like or match the feeling of what I wanted to express? Am I really paying attention to what I want my art to become? And what I love about this is that you can get good at this. You improve at this over time. And that's sort of amazing that that is possible. But this is the learning. This mysterious thing you actually can get better at. You can get better at doing it. Even though there's no one showing you how, there's no guidebooks. It's like it's your intuition, your inner knowing a little bit that you're learning, that you're getting better at doing. I hope this is making sense or is kind of logical. I think we as artists, we intuitively feel this. I think some of the things I must be sharing with you would remember. But what has been helpful for me is to put it in stages so that learning that ability to become in a state where you're more like your art or how you want your art to be, you become that. Learn what that feels like, and then learn how to translate it in your work. Maybe you need to learn color. Maybe you need to learn a different kind of paintbrush, or learn to draw differently or different materials to match what it is you need. And there's work involved. We have to explore that, figure that out. It's not clear or obvious, right? You have to use your intuition. And this is what's so cool, because nobody can show you, but everyone has this intuition. Everyone uses it. It's shrouded in mystery and wonder. And this is what is so great. And this whole process of you becoming you is the journey of what is such a worthwhile journey. It's why we're here, to learn who we are and who we're becoming, and share that with the world and express that. That's what's so amazing. It's such a cool opportunity. And it's the journey that I love coaching around. I love talking around this, but it takes, when we get to this part where it's not clear, what you're making won't look like anything you recognize, which is scary. but we won't recognize it because it's new, because it's new for you. And that's a good thing. That's what we want. That is your art. You just haven't seen it before. And if you can start to realize that that is what it always is like, that the soul always pulls you to the unknown. It always takes you to the place you don't know, or the place that feels foreign. It takes you there because it wants to teach you something. You're here to learn something, and you have specific things you need to learn. This is kind of what I believe, and that's why it pulls you there. And if you're willing to answer that call, that's where the amazing art is. And also, it is often difficult in this stage. We tend to avoid what's hard. We tend to, we're here to make art. I think we're here to make art sometimes to learn the things that are hard for us, that are really challenging. And I'm just going to drop this idea that whatever is hard for you is actually where you need to go. That's where that door that is hard, you have to go right up to it and go through it. That is the fast path to getting your art amazing. There's challenges and difficulty in your art that you're avoiding perhaps. And sometimes if your art is all about that avoidance, the art never really takes off because people can feel that you're just not going to where you're scared to go. But that's exactly where you need to go. That quote that your trauma is your dharma, right? Where you, the difficulties you have growing up or all the things you're avoiding become the thing that you need to learn, and probably the thing you need to teach, and the thing that you're going to get really good at. The thing you're trying to avoid is actually the doorway in. You need to go right to what is hard. And that's the learning, right? So the learning of this only happens, and this is the art part, that it only happens by getting in motion, by making something. This is when things start to shift and things start to move. And this is why it's so important. And what we were doing during the free workshop was let's just start. Let's just start and pay attention and get into this. And when we play, things happen. A lot of things happen when we play. So this doesn't have to be all angst-ridden and hard. Not at all. It can be just really light, but you have to be in motion with it. You can't intellectually, right? Step one, you can't get there through just understanding it. You can start to, but you have to feel this. And you can go the next step by feeling it and translating it into your expression, into your art. And literally, is this color more like how I want it to feel? Or is this color more like how it wants to feel? Is this shape more like how it feels? How does it feel when I glue this collage? How does it feel when I don't? How does it feel when I work at this size? How does it feel? All those adjustments are what give you the artifact. And the artifact is your art. So, and you do a bunch of them, and you will then be able to see your progression as your clarity gets stronger, as your connection to what you're feeling and what you're making becomes more and more clear. As you get clearer with this, that's when your art's improving. And it improves firstly because you're more clear. And clarity provides amazing art. What you put in your art is what makes it powerful for people. What you take out makes it powerful. That discernment, the choosing of the things, that the experiences, the feelings, your ability to say yes, no to things is what your art is. And how good you are at doing that, how powerful you are at doing that, how over time you get better at it. So the art gets better. And when it gets better, people follow it, people want it, people buy it, you have more confidence, people connect to it better. It doesn't really matter what people think about it. I mean, if you take this journey as I'm describing it, right, intellectually understanding it, it's all an inside job. It's not based on anything out there. And it's so great to not have that impacting what you're making, because staying true to more of what's going on for you is how you get the art really authentic and really powerful. So, but in this stage of just starting to feel it, starting to get it, we tend to still think of our art as outside of ourselves, right? Oh my God, I made this and it really feels better for me and I'm liking it more and I see myself in it more. But we're still at this stage separate from it. But the third stage is where we want to go. And this takes longer, but is so cool. And that is, we are actually becoming. You become it. You become, you become your art. You are the work of art. There's no separation between your life and your art. It's an obvious, direct channel from one to the other. And this makes incredibly powerful art. And because it's clear and it's direct, there's very little resistance. It can just be so strong. And you gain tremendous momentum from living this way, from being this way, because you're now doing what gives you energy and it's translating directly into your art, which gives you more energy, which overflows into people's lives, into your lives. There's energy, there's evidence of it. And it becomes this loop, this feedback loop. It's like a spiral that's going higher and higher and higher. The work gets stronger, the work gets easier, the life gets stronger, the life gets easier, because you're starting to become more and more energized in a more permanent state, more flow state, more overflow state, which gives you more energy, which allows you to do even more, So you can just imagine way beyond yourself. And there's just absolutely no comparison going on. It's wildly magnetic, this way of being. It's the way of being that produces the art. It's not a lucky thing that you make amazing art, therefore things start getting better in your life. It doesn't work that way, or at least that's not been my experience from coaching and working with artists and my own art my entire life. It's this flip. And it all starts with deciding that you are going to choose what it is that lights you up, that little uptick of energy and juice and fire, that's where it starts. That's where the beginning of this happens. And what I love about it is that it's a choice, that this is available to anybody. And that's why we get the results we do in the Creative Visionary program, working with people. But this is the journey. This is the path that we're going on. And yes, you need art making information. Yes, you need to understand art history a little. You need to look at, you have to stay engaged with the kind of different materials you love. All of that. You got to learn stuff, right? There's lots to learn, design and color. You have to learn to take risks, right? But the risk comes from stepping towards something that just feels right, but isn't clearly right. We don't have evidence of it, that there's uncertainty because we don't have empirical evidence. What I'm describing, there was someone commented the other day on the podcast, and they said, I remember when, Art to Life podcast was just more about art, and that person is intellectually maybe understands it a little, but it is not yet embodying this idea that it is one and the same thing. That the whole point of the podcast, the whole lesson of finding your way as you go, is adjusting yourself as you go so that your expression could be more potent, can be more like you. It isn't possible. I don't know how to separate the two. But man, you put them together and they just feed off of each other. For those of you who are watching the YouTube video, I want to draw something for you and kind of wrapping this up. One of the things I used to draw all the time and I didn't even really know why I was doing it, but I used to draw this infinity symbol all the time on my artwork. If you look at I usually did it in pencil, but first of all, what I love about it is that you can make something and you never have to take your paintbrush or your pencil off the page, that it's a continuous line. And this is, just as a shape, it's really fun to make it because you come back around to the place you began and you get to keep going around and around and around. There's no place that you begin and there's no place you end. And so there was just something about this infinity shape that I've always loved. And to me, and now I know, of course, and I mean, it's symbols, and it is what it means is that it's limitless. It means that there's possibility. It means that there's another approach. There's another unfolding. It's just about possibility. And that has been my life's work, teaching this idea that you think you have it all figured out, or you think you're not capable of making something or doing something or being something or achieving something, but you don't actually know what's possible. And all we have to do is change your awareness of what's possible, and then it can become possible. So this shape, this symbol, it's crazy. It's been in my work pretty much my whole life. I mean, I've been drawing it forever. And it wasn't until recently where I just really started what does this mean? And I just feel like it just felt like such a great thing to make a mark. It just feels good to make it. And it's a perfect example of it has meaning. If you Google it, and it means limitless, it means infinity, it means possibility, but it also feels that way when you make it. And that's where I came in. I didn't really embody it. I was feeling it and I was interested in it. And that's what kept me coming back. And I just got in the habit of including it. I like to have it in the work. That's just for me. I like things that are open-ended, that I get to maybe change my mind and go further. I have this bad habit of not closing cabinets, and I think, or doors. I don't like to close something because I might want to go back. It's just it's not a good thing, but that's the reason of it. I love the idea that that we're not done, that there's more possibility for all of us. And it's hopeful. Why wouldn't you want that? So that's a little bit of the overview of the journey that I am in my team and Art to Life, where we're taking people. And a lot of it I'm talking about a lot on this podcast, and I'm hoping that this is helpful, and that this can ground you in the uncertainty, in the time when you're not sure of where you're going with your art. That it is absolutely essential that that's where you need to be going. But it's part of something. It's part of a process. It's part of a path. It's a path to becoming, your art. That you ultimately are the work of art, and you get these. As you do in your life, you do in your art. As you do in your art, you also do in your life, and it's this beautiful loop that can just. I believe it's going to change the world. It is so powerful, and it just makes the most beautiful evidence of all different kinds of people and all kinds of work. And it's just, in the end of the day, just a fabulous thing to involve yourself in. And I know you know this already, but it's exciting, and it's fun to be a part of it. And it's certainly fun to do it with others. You guys, thanks so much for being here. I hope you stay connected with what we're all doing, and stay in community, because it's just so much better to go together. Thanks so much. And if you want to leave a comment, I love them. If you go to arttolife.com and you click on podcasts, there's a little yellow bar on the right where you can record a message. If you have a question or a message, I check those pretty regularly, and often do episodes where I'm just answering questions. I dare say there will be questions around this, so I'd be happy to see yours. Thanks, everyone.